Okay, let's go.
It's time for Be Picked. When you're ready to move from clicks to clients, learn to be picked.
Welcome to Be Picked. This is a podcast where we talk with professional service providers about how to build your practice so that you have a long-term and sustainable practice. I'm your host, Andrew Kolsky, and today we are talking with Morgan Rose. She's joining us all the way from France, and she runs Morgan Consulting, also known as the Sold Out SEO Strategist. So Morgan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Hi, Andrew, and hi, everyone listening. I'm very excited and honored to be on your show.
Great. Well, we're happy to have you here because we want to share the best information we can with our audience because they're struggling not only trying to do all of their work and keep track of legal cases and all the things that are important to keep a practice going, but then they got to figure out how to get clients on top of that. So it can be overwhelming. So let's start off with the very beginning here. So your company, Sold Out SEO Strategist, obviously has the title SEO in the title there. Tell us from your perspective, when working with someone who is a professional service provider who has limited time, but also needs to be doing something to be bringing in clients, what are the things that you talk with them about as the most important things that they should think about first?
Website. That's my first answer. So I have a website-centered vision of marketing because I believe that service providers, any service provider except those who chose marketing, obviously social media, but any service provider who's spent years studying at university, they didn't create their business just to dance on TikTok or on Instagram. And those platforms are great tools, not criticizing, but is that the business model you want to have? Do you want to be an influencer? Creating content that's going to disappear, like literally you're pouring your heart into creating content that's going to disappear within hours to never be found again and never be searched again, because those platforms are not they're not really built to be looking for content, right? Your profile can be found, but not necessarily your content. So I would say your website is owned. You own this asset. Social media, they can lock you out of your account. Like 3 weeks ago, I was literally on Zoom talking about how it's not safe to only rely on Facebook or on social media because they can lock you out just like that. I got put in Facebook jail for no reason. Wow. Literally no reason. I didn't infringe any law. I was just texting people I knew. That's it. No cold DM, no pitch, no hard sell, nothing like that. I'm against those things. So this is what I would say. Secure your real estate, just like if you have a practice, if you have an office in town, your website is the same but virtual. It's like your online home, and no algorithm, gremlin as I call them, can take it away from you, and it works for you 24/7 if it's well optimized, obviously. So that would be my advice, number one, website first.
Okay. And I know that a good number of people in the audience may not even have a website, or maybe they had someone build a website for them and they put it on the shelf and they figured, okay, I got a website, now I can ignore it and go away. So when you talk about a good website, what are the elements that make the website good, and what are the elements that make the website a viable business tool?
So I love this question because and this is not me criticizing designers here, because designing is their job, but designing a website and making it found on Google are two different jobs. Not all designers do SEO. As an SEO strategist, I don't do design. So everyone is needed. It's just complementary. It's not either or. You can have the most beautiful, most modern website on the whole internet. If nobody finds it, it's just a waste of money, and you're going to have to work twice harder because you have to compensate for the cost and also the fact that it's just sitting there not bringing clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so having a website is not enough. Now having a website that's visible is good because you're going to be having traffic, so people visiting, but it doesn't mean that, number one, those people are your people, like qualified prospects. And it doesn't mean that even if they are qualified prospect, it doesn't mean that they will know what to do. They will understand, they will resonate with you, because it's not only about getting found, it's also about resonating with your people in terms of language. So if you call yourself something that's technical, or if you talk about things in your profession jargon,
Mm-hmm.
your client has no clue. Like, they're in their head, they cannot think about something else. They are deep in their problem. They don't have the time to guess what it means in, for example, if it's a lawyer in law language, or if it's doctor in medical language. So it's very important to meet them where they are and forget the textbook language, because this is not what gives you credibility. What gives you credibility is speaking their language, and they land on your website. They're like, oh, this lawyer understands that I'm in the middle of a separation. Like, things are very tense with my partner or my ex-partner or whatever. The kids are suffering. This lawyer can help me. Like, they feel my pain, because it's the relatability. But beyond relatability, you also need to show the leadership that you are there for them and tell them what to do next. I see so many websites that don't have a clear call to action. So people land there, they don't really relate to the text. And even if they still want to take action, they have to look for the button, contact me. For what? Why should I contact you? Is it going to give me like a price quotation? Is it a free call? Do I have a freebie to download, like a lead magnet, something to get a taste of your vibe, your expertise, what I can expect from the professional? So, sorry, it's a long answer, but just to summarize everything I said, pretty website is useless. Website that's pretty and optimized is only one of the two legs. And a pretty website that's optimized and speaks your ideal client's language is the both legs that can move you forward to more clients and more sales.
Right, right, and you're speaking my language, and I do have a follow-up question to that, but just to sort of summarize what I'm hearing, it's one thing to go to a beautifully designed website. You were talking about a divorce situation, so let's talk about a divorce lawyer. And it's one thing to have a beautifully designed website that is all perfectly SEO optimized for terms like divorce lawyer and similar, but person who's looking for a divorce lawyer may not even know that they're looking for a divorce, or they may not be. What they're looking for is, how do I keep my kids away from my abusive spouse? How do I make sure that I'm going to have money coming in if this person is no longer here? Those are the questions that they're going to be asking online. And if you don't answer those questions on your website or through other means, just because you have a beautiful website that says, oh, I went to this great school and I've done all these cases and I'm, just a wonderful attorney. And maybe you are a wonderful attorney, but if you don't speak to your client, you're not going to get the client, no matter how wonderful you are. So what are the things that people can and should do to make sure that they're actually speaking to the client so they get that person to call them?
So I would advise several things. So first of all, put yourself in your client's shoes. Let's say someone is so worried that it's 1 a.m. and they cannot think of something and they cannot fall asleep. What would they type? Put yourself in their shoes. Try to imagine the situation and see the terms that would come out of your mouth. You could also ask a a loved one or a friend, hey, what would you type if we were looking for someone like me? Because they know you already, they know what you do. So in their words. And also, I would also suggest to think in terms, how would you explain your profession, what you do for a living, to a 12-year-old child or a 7-year-old child, so that he or she can explain it to their friend, like they understand and they can repeat it in a way that makes sense. So that's always what I suggest. So this is for finding the terms, so the keywords in my jargon, so the terms that people are typing on Google. I say Google, but whatever search engine, DuckDuckGo, Safari, whatever. And then I would also suggest to do a market research if you really want to find out more from those people, potential clients. Market research, spy, quotation mark, legally spy on your competitors by visiting their website. Check out their testimonial, check out your testimonials as well, what your clients are saying about you, about working with you, their experience, what they got, etc. Because it's very important to talk to their problem, their pain, not in a doom and gloom kind of way, but just in a way that they see that it's for them. And the results that they want, how they describe these results. And then how to use that on your website would be service pages, because obviously you're going to have a service. So you need to present what you do in a way that makes sense for them. That's like, oh my God, this is the lawyer. Because we're talking, let's go on with our example of the divorce lawyer.
Sure.
And so what would make them feel that you are the no-brainer choice for them, the obvious solution, not your competitor from down the road, you. What is the type of client you want to attract? So being very specific about that, and it's not about being all airy-fairy, fluffy unicorn language. It's more like, what type of people are usually coming to you? Who are you having the best results with? Who are you enjoying working with? Because all of this is going to be useful for your copy as well. So you can filter who is a right fit or not. Like if you only want to speak to clients who are sure they want to go ahead, instead of just people who are, I call them freebivore, but I'm saying this with love. They just want free stuff. They eat free stuff. So they're freebivores. So you don't necessarily want to entertain, nothing wrong with it, because sometimes you need to nurture them, but it's very important to filter who you want and who you don't want to work with, because we cannot serve everyone. So service pages, but also blogs. I know you're busy, you're a professional, you're super busy, but I'm also aware that we all need, myself included, to choose our difficult. What is more difficult for you? Is it more time consuming to create content for social media, or to print flyers and go and put them at the bakery or wherever? Or to hire someone to do it for you? Or to spend some time to write a few blogs? It doesn't mean you have to blog for the rest of your life, but at least having a solid database of articles that cover the most frequently asked questions, so that your website does the selling for you, and always tie it back to an offer. So once again, your offer is the next logical step. Someone who reads your blog, they recognize themselves in the problem you describe, in the solution you describe, and then it's like, what do I need to do after that? Because yes, that's the professional I want to hire. So always have a next step in the blog. So you cover people in different phases of their journey. Excuse me.
Sure.
So for example, someone who is starting to have problems with their partner, they're starting to think of separation. They are in early phases of worry in terms of legal procedure, right? So these people might need to read blogs before going ahead. So you want to make sure you are still in their head, because right now, they might not need you right now, but maybe in 3 months when things really go down the drain, in the worst case scenario, then they will remember that they read a blog that spoke to their emotions, that really made them feel understood and like they would have a good chance of winning the case. They will remember you, because we tend to say people need to see you between 7 and 11 times before taking actions. But when you're really specific about the intent, when you consider the intent that people have, if you really make them feel something, they will remember, because words are forgotten, but feelings stay.
Uh-huh.
So that would be my advice.
Okay. So, it's funny. Some of the examples you gave literally sound like they came straight out of my book that I've just written. It's not even published yet, but I mean, so we are exactly on the same wavelength here. That's why I'm
It's
saying that.
amazing.
So, for those of you now, I let the cat out of the bag, but if you're listening to this podcast, the book is called Left of Trust, and it's coming out soon on Amazon, but we'll let you know
Exciting.
when it comes out. Okay. So here's the next logical question from what you were saying. So I start off, I build this website, looks beautiful, looks professional, has all this great information on it. I then make sure that I have the type of information that you're talking about, which is information that speaks to my potential clients' actual needs, thoughts, problems, concerns. And then I add in blogs, because now I'm continuing to speak to them and all. So outside of my website, are there other things that I should be doing?
Yes. I would recommend having a Google business profile, even if you work 100% online, because you might still have in your area someone who needs you, even if you work online. So, and you can have various location, like you can cover several location with the Google business profile. So, and in parallel to that, Google Business Profile, you also have the Apple equivalent, which is called ABC, Apple Business Connect. I would recommend having a profile on Google Business and Apple Business Connect. Free advertisement. It covers the map also. Once again, even if you work 100% online, you can still drag people from your area who would still need you. So I would say it's really useful, because keywords, it gives authority to your website. You can connect your website to the GBP or ABC, GBP for Google Business Profile. Register your website, your business actually, in directories. So global directories, but also directories for your profession.
Uh-huh.
This would be also something that gives backlinks. So in my jargon, backlinks are links from other trusted sources, other websites that are linking back to your website. This also signals to Google trust and authority of your domain. And it's an open door back to your website.
Right.
And then you have other platforms like Pinterest. Pinterest is not a social media platform. I know many people think it's a social media platform, but it's a visual search engine. So you create pins that link back to your blog post. And it's usually people who are looking for things on Pinterest already have a high intent as well, higher than on social media, for example.
Uh-huh.
Nothing wrong with having social media profiles, because as long as your information is coherent with your website, like it talks about the same thing, that's also a way for people to find you. And this is also a strategy that I teach, how to optimize your social media profile so that it's like the top of your funnel. So something that brings people in.
Uh-huh.
And then aside from Pinterest, you have platforms like Reddit, Quora, you also have Substack. So it's still content creation, but it's not rabbit hole-ish.
Right.
It's more like it ranks, it gives you authority for AI. And because AI pulls results from Reddit, Quora, even LinkedIn sometimes, and Substack that I just said.
Mhm.
So this can help you get more backlinks, get more people collaboration. Collaborating is also a good way to borrow other people's audience, being guests on podcasts, doing blog posts like expert interviews and things like that. So these are other, what we call, once again in jargon, but I like to explain the jargon, evergreen, like the trees that don't drop their leaves. Your marketing is permanent, like it's always going to be found.
Right.
So
Right.
this is what I would recommend.
So this is where we can see how the number of different platforms out there, from your, I guess, what people traditionally think of as social media, which is the funny dancing lawyer video, versus LinkedIn, versus YouTube, versus
Yeah,
Substack,
YouTube.
versus
Yeah, of
whatever,
course. Mhm.
you know? So you mentioned Google Business Profile, which to me is a really important tool just because of the reach that Google has. And as an example, I found it really funny, not funny, but interesting, or informative maybe. Um, where I live, there's a new bakery coffee shop that had opened down the street. And it's very good. They have very, very good products and very nice people. And so to support them, I put up a little review of them on Google, showed a couple pictures of their bakery, and, gave a little comment. I was shocked. I think by now, a couple months later, I think I have over 500,000 views on that one post. It's absolutely amazing the reach that Google has. And it's just a couple pictures and a little statement. Um, but people are looking for things. So when you have a Google Business Profile for your own business, is it okay to simply set it up and leave it? Or do you also have to kind of keep that fresh?
Okay, I'm going to give two answers here because I know some people don't necessarily want to keep things alive,
Hmm.
but bear with me. I'm gonna get ahead of myself. So back to the start. It's very important to have it, but optimize it. And when I say optimize, I'm going to use the same advice that I was giving earlier for the website. So speak your client's language. Um, Make sure to talk about the outcome, problem, outcome, same language. Link what to do, where to book, where to find them. So of course, putting your website link, your hours, opening hours, all the information that you can think of, put it there. If you have an office, if there is parking space for people who have disabilities as well, all of that, it's really, really important to mention. On Google Business Profile, you can also have the reviews, like we were saying. So making sure to answer all reviews, even if you have a troll that's literally trolling, still reply,
Hmm.
because it shows how you deal with these things, and it also builds trust for people, those who are considering hiring you. Now you could leave it like that if it's well optimized. But where I want to take it further is if you have to choose between posting on Facebook or posting on your Google Business Profile, I would always tell you to post on your Google Business Profile, even if it's once a week. Google will be like, oh, actually, they're still active. So I'm going to push that lawyer, that accountant, that whatever you're doing. So not only reply to reviews, but update. If you publish a podcast, if you have a special offer for Mother's Day or whatever, I'm just
Hmm.
saying things out of my head,
Hmm.
put it there. Because this, even if someone sees it in 6 months and the offer is not valid anymore, they will be like, oh, this person is active. This person is paying attention. So, and it stays.
Hmm.
Facebook disappears.
Hmm.
So if you had to choose between the two, I would say update, even if it's once a week, and it doesn't have to take time. Showcase case studies as well. You can post a client story. You can keep it anonymous, but I recently worked with a client who was having this problem. After one session, they reported feeling that way, like better. And after 6 months, they got that result. Here is their words. You can blur their family name or like sensitive data just to build trust. Like even if you already have reviews, but little case studies showing your thought leadership, unpopular opinion that makes you cringe in your industry, that everybody's raving about, but you have a different opinion. People want to hear that.
Mhm. Right, right. And you mentioned the reviews. It's people so often forget about that. On your Google business profile, you have reviews. When you see someone who has a whole bunch of 5-star reviews, you're going to think differently about them than someone who has no reviews or 2 reviews. And ask your clients, if I ask people for reviews, and the way I ask is I say, look, I'd really appreciate it if you could give me a review, but I want it to be an honest review. I don't care if it's a 1-star or a 5-star. I want your honest review because it's important to me to know. Luckily, my reviews are very high and I appreciate that, but I don't ask them to give me a 5-star review. I ask for an honest review. And when you ask for the reviews, a certain percentage of people will give you the reviews, and it helps other people know more about you. So one other thing I want to follow up on here is, if let's take the divorce attorney example. So if you are a divorce attorney or whatever type of attorney or professional you are that's listening to this show, think about this. Think about, like Morgan said, what type of questions might your client be asking at 3 in the morning when they're laying awake worrying about this problem? They're probably not looking for divorce attorneys because they don't even know that they need one. They're looking for the issues that they're having that we talked about before. How do I keep my kids? What do I do about money? Who owns the house? All these things. And eventually, through those searches, they're going to find content that's going to lead them to realize, oh, it sounds like I really need a divorce attorney. So number one, go in to Google yourself, search for the types of questions you think your clients would ask and see what shows up. Number two, once someone realizes they need a divorce attorney, go in and type in, I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. So I go on sometimes and I'll type in like divorce attorney, Washington, D.C. to see what comes up. If you don't come up, there's an issue, you know? So just check yourself online as if you're just any other consumer who might be looking for your type of services. And if you're not finding your content and you're not finding yourself, they aren't either.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a simple tip, but very, very, very useful. A
Yeah.
must.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this concept of keeping things fresh versus letting things stagnate, and meshing that with the fact that attorneys, professionals are super, super busy. If they had to pick just a couple basic things to do each week, we've already talked about how a website is a beginning part to be very important for them. But in terms of keeping content fresh, what is the least that they should be doing?
I love that question. So if you have a Google business profile, post once per week.
Okay.
That seems doable because, it doesn't need to be a huge thing. If you choose to blog, I would say, if you're time sensitive, I would say 1 blog per month. And in that blog, the beauty of blogs is that if you target minimum 800 words, you have character counters online. If you're not intending to blog often, I would tend to say post longer blogs. So they're like your cornerstone, your pillars blogs. And the beauty of blog is that you can repurpose from a, let's say, 2,000 word blog or even 1,500. You can repurpose that. You extract gold nuggets from that. You create a post. You put it on Google Business Profile. Read the full article here, or like, here is what happened to my client. Here is what I would tell this client if they were in this situation. So you're giving tips, but not 3 tips how to, because people are tired of that. ChatGPT gives that. So people want your leadership, your thought leadership, your opinion, myth busting as well, and link to the blog. So I would say create one piece of content per month, repurpose once per week on Google Business Profile, copy paste it into, if you still have social media, if you choose to keep social media, copy paste the Google Business Profile post into LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, wherever you are. You don't create more, you're just copy pasting. Doesn't take long. If you want to really build your authority, I would say target podcast appearance or interviews, maybe once a month. And that would be the very least minimum. And if you don't want to write a blog, maybe you would prefer having a podcast episode or a YouTube video. And YouTube and podcast, now you can just pair them and they appear like everywhere together.
Mhm.
So this would be the very least minimum, because many professionals have words of mouth, like, referrals coming. But if you really want to scale and develop your activity, reach new people, that's what I would say. If I really wanted to push it to the next level, I would say create a free resource that gives value, that moves people from stage, I have a big problem, I don't know how to solve it, to now I know how to solve it. I move them one step forward
Mhm.
with a clear call to action, what to do next, book a call, whatever it can be, because this will enable you to collect their email addresses in exchange for that free resource. And then you can send newsletter. And guess what? You can use your blog and send it in your newsletter as well. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, and repurpose is my middle name. Like
Right.
literally.
Right. No, absolutely.
So-
Repurposing your content in multiple formats is a great way to get it out there. So let me say this. We're actually out of time, but this is an important point, and I'm going to go a little bit longer here if the audience will stay with us, because I think this is an important question. Based on what you're talking about there, if they write a blog, okay? Now, if I were to hire you, a professional copywriter, who knows SEO, who knows all the things about getting things found on the internet, you would probably write that blog and include SEO terms because you want it to be found. Now, if I'm a busy attorney and I don't even know the first thing about SEO or how to find SEO terms or how to include them, or, it's a whole other science in and of itself. What do they do? Do they need to worry about that, or tell us?
Um, I will always say done is better than perfect. So it's good to still put it out there, but it's not enough. It can be enough in the first place if you want to focus on creating this first. But if you optimize it straight away, you have more chances to get clients first. So there are 3 routes to go with SEO and copywriting, like content creation, or actually 4. The fourth one is not do anything at all.
That's not
Right?
acceptable. Not on this show.
That's the first one would be go onto YouTube, ask good old friend ChatGPT to teach you how to do it. But among all the free advice that is out there, I also share on my own blog, you need to filter what applies to you. You need to know where to start, what really applies to you versus something that's created for an e-commerce or for a 6 or 7 figure business owner, while you might not be at this stage yet. So really finding what is the right thing for you. So that can be time consuming. The second route is to hire someone to do it for you. But if you do, and I also offer this, but I also always say this, if you do hire a specialist, make sure they don't slap graphics like, yeah, your impressions have increased. What the heck is an impression? What does this graph show me? Right?
Mhm.
We also need to have integrity and speak in our client's language while telling others to speak in their client's language. So if you hire an SEO specialist, make sure they're going to give you data that's understandable. because
Right.
you don't have time to guess.
Right.
Then you need to be defining if you want a optimization, if you want an ongoing contract for blogs, like monthly blogs, like packs. Everything is possible. That's really applied to your business and that is really transparent. I will always say, make sure you know what you're paying for. Because I was talking with a gentleman not long ago. It was like, I'm paying, I think it was $2,000 per month. An SEO agency is like, I don't even know what they're doing. Like I'm on top of Google page 1, but I don't know why I'm paying that much all the time because I'm already at the top. What more can I get?
Mm-hmm.
So I advised the gentleman to call them and ask what's going on, what is exactly that they are doing, because like we all need money, but everyone needs to win, right? So transparency is a must. And the third route would be to learn how to do it yourself. It costs less money. It costs a little bit more time. But if you learn the system, you can reuse it forever and you have everything you need, basically. So that would be a good start for those who are not exactly where they want to be yet, and they also have an interest for doing these things themselves, because also when you learn how to do it yourself, it's easier after, when you earn more money, like when you have more budget, let's say, to know what to look for when you hire someone, because you already know how to do it yourself. So you can spot if something smells fishy. So these are the 3 routes I would advise.
Perfect. Perfect. I really appreciate you taking the extra time to explain that to us. We are way over time here. This has been Be Picked with Morgan Rose. I will remind our audience that for this information, as well as information from all of our other podcasts, just visit www.be-picked.com, and you can get access to all of our podcast videos, audio, blog articles, resources, everything that's going to help you build and grow your practice. So thank you for visiting us on bepicked.com. We will see you on our next podcast.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. If you are enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. Thank you.